Hello friends. What happens when fire meets earth, when the fearless Aries Snake tangles destinies with the ambitious Capricorn Horse? Is it a spark that ignites a lasting flame, or a collision of two unstoppable forces? Let's pull back the astrological curtain and explore the fascinating compatibility between these two complex personalities, blending Western zodiac signs with the mystique of Chinese astrology. We're talking love, marriage, sex, friendship, business, hidden shadows, life goals, and what truly happens when these two meet under the stars. Love, fire and discipline in a delicate dance. At first glance, Aries Snake and Capricorn Horse may seem like opposites, and in many ways, they are. But love, as we know, doesn't thrive in sameness. It blooms in contrast, and this particular pairing offers a deeply fascinating contrast, not only between personalities, but between emotional philosophies. The Aries Snake is a creature of seduction and strategy. Governed by the boldness of Aries and the complexity of the snake, this individual doesn't just fall in love, they hunt it. They bring an alluring blend of charm and mystique to relationships, often captivating their partner before the other person even realizes what's happening. Their love is intoxicating, rich with layers and emotional undercurrents that are both thrilling and elusive. This isn't a partner who texts "good morning" out of habit. They'll do it in 5 languages, from 5 different time zones, just to keep you guessing. And yet, behind this passion lies a quiet emotional caution. They reveal just enough to entice, rarely enough to be fully understood. Now enter the Capricorn Horse, steady, loyal, often underestimated. Governed by the grounded determination of Capricorn and the energetic stamina of the horse, this personality doesn't rush into romance. Their love is a marathon, not a sprint. It's built on observation, consistency, and time. While others may be swept up in the snake's immediate magnetism, the horse stays still just long enough to understand it. And when they choose to love, it's with unwavering commitment. The Capricorn Horse shows love not with grand declarations, but through protection, planning, and practical investment in the future. This makes the early stages of their connection deeply compelling. The Aries Snake enjoys the chase, and the Capricorn Horse, knowingly or not, provides just enough resistance to stoke the fire. While the snake uses emotional intelligence and subtle moves, the horse maintains a cool exterior, grounded by logic and a desire to avoid emotional chaos. The dynamic becomes a dance, one partner circling with fire, the other holding center with quiet strength. But beneath this attraction lies a test. The snake wants emotional intensity and romantic intrigue. The horse wants reliability, predictability, and long-term security. The challenge comes when the snake seeks novelty and surprise, while the horse prefers clear expectations. If not managed well, the snake may find the horse boring, while the horse may view the snake as unpredictable or emotionally manipulative. Yet, there's immense potential here. If the Aries Snake feels emotionally safe, they become more grounded, generous, and genuinely devoted. And if the Capricorn Horse feels respected and inspired, they open up emotionally, revealing surprising depths of passion and tenderness. Together, they have the rare ability to combine high romance with real-world loyalty, a love that is both poetic and practical. However, this love won't work without emotional effort. The snake must learn to communicate more directly and resist the temptation to play mind games when feeling vulnerable. The horse must learn to express affection more spontaneously and be willing to embrace moments of chaos and risk. If they can meet halfway, the snake lowering their emotional guard, and the horse loosening their grip on control, what emerges is a relationship that feels like fate. This is the kind of love where each partner brings what the other lacks. The snake teaches the horse about passion, transformation, and emotional nuance. The horse teaches the snake about commitment, stability, and the quiet beauty of consistency. And in this exchange, both grow. In the long run, this couple will likely face multiple chapters in their relationship. Their early phase may feel like a power struggle. The middle years will test their ability to compromise. But if they weather these seasons, they create a love that evolves, one that transforms from fire and discipline into something far more profound, mutual evolution. They don't complete each other. They challenge each other, and in that challenge, they become more complete versions of themselves. Compatibility in love, 7.5-10. High potential if emotional gaps are addressed. This pairing is not for the faint-hearted, but for those willing to grow. It offers something rare. A love that deepens, matures, and reinvents itself across a lifetime. Marriage, the real test begins. Can the passion of an Aries snake truly survive the slow-burning journey of lifelong commitment? Can the Capricorn horse endure the unpredictable rhythms of a partner who thrives on autonomy, change, and emotional complexity? These aren't just surface-level questions, they cut straight to the soul of what makes a long-term relationship work. And when you put these two signs together, you get a marriage that is anything but conventional, a partnership built not on ease but on evolution. Aries snake in marriage is both a fire starter and a mystery. They don't approach commitment lightly. They enter it when they feel genuinely challenged, respected, and desired. Marriage for them isn't a destination, but a constantly evolving terrain of intimacy and discovery. They crave a partner who will grow with them, not chain them. And yet, they're not emotionally careless. In fact, once they choose to commit, they often do so with surprising depth and loyalty, just not in the traditional, predictable ways society might expect. The Capricorn horse, by contrast, views marriage as a fundamental building block of a stable life. They are long-term thinkers, practical planners, and deeply invested in creating a legacy. Their approach to love isn't theatrical, it's foundational. When they say, "I do," it's with the full weight of commitment. They take on the role of provider, planner, protector, and they expect structure, clarity, and mutual reliability in return. Their love language is consistency, their devotion quiet but powerful. This creates a fascinating dynamic. One partner is emotionally fluid, ever transforming, the other, rooted in discipline and structure. The Aries snake wants freedom within love. The Capricorn horse wants certainty within commitment. The tension between these two philosophies is where the real test of this marriage begins, and where its richest rewards can also be found. Early in the marriage, disagreements may center around lifestyle choices, daily routines, and emotional expectations. The Capricorn horse thrives on routine, values predictability, and may prefer a traditional path, from budgeting to parenting to scheduling Sunday nights. Meanwhile, the Aries snake wants the space to explore, the freedom to challenge norms, and the flexibility to reinvent how love looks and feels. If the horse expects the snake to follow a set plan, they may be met with resistance or emotional withdrawal. If the snake expects the horse to bend with every emotional whim or impulse, frustration may quickly build. But this friction isn't fatal. In fact, it's formative. When these two commit to navigating their differences with patience and curiosity, something beautiful begins to take shape. The snake brings life, sensuality, and adventure to the horse's structured world. They remind the horse that love doesn't have to be logical. It can be wild, poetic, and even chaotic. In return, the horse offers the snake a grounding force, a kind of emotional home base that allows the snake to rest, recharge, and grow roots without losing their spark. Power dynamics also play a critical role in this marriage. Aries snakes don't dominate through brute force, they influence through charm, wit, and emotional nuance. Capricorn horses, on the other hand, assert control through action, responsibility, and clear decision-making. If these two don't learn to share authority in the relationship, subtle battles for dominance can erupt. The snake may manipulate or withdraw. The horse may become rigid or emotionally dismissive. But if they learn to recognize and respect each other's strengths, the snake's emotional intelligence and the horse's steadfast leadership, they can create a shared power structure that elevates both. One of the most underrated strengths of this pairing is what happens when life inevitably gets hard. When children arrive, careers shift, losses occur, or dreams get delayed. During these storms, the snake's strategic mind and inner resilience combine beautifully with the horse's discipline and work ethic. Together, they become an unshakable team, one that doesn't just survive adversity but becomes stronger because of it. This is a marriage that matures beautifully with age, because each partner slowly learns to love not just the best parts of the other, but the hardest parts too. Communication is a key factor here. The snake must resist the urge to retreat into silence or sarcasm when emotions get raw. They must learn to express vulnerability without fear of losing power. The horse, meanwhile, must learn to soften their defenses and step into emotional conversations that feel messy or uncomfortable. Their natural instinct is to solve problems, but in marriage with the snake, sometimes the solution is simply to feel. Over time, this relationship builds its own language, a unique code of love, tension, renewal, and stability. Their home may be filled with contradictions, late-night philosophical conversations followed by early morning planning sessions, spontaneous road trips balanced by carefully curated life plans. But it works. It works because both partners learn that marriage isn't about perfection, it's about choosing each other, again and again, through every phase of life. They may not be the couple who posts picture-perfect love stories online. They may have friends who don't understand how their relationship functions. But privately, this duo shares a profound connection, one that's built on survival, ambition, desire, and transformation. If both partners do the work, if they learn to blend their strengths instead of weaponizing their differences, this marriage becomes the kind of story that others admire from a distance. Not because it was flawless, but because it was real, rare, and resilient. Marriage compatibility. 8/10. Challenging but rewarding. A relationship that doesn't coast, it climbs. And the view from the top? Worth every single step. Sex. Intensity meets endurance. This is where things get interesting, and undeniably steamy. The sexual chemistry between an Aries snake and a Capricorn horse is not the kind that flares and fades. It evolves. It transforms. It deepens over time, becoming something layered and unforgettable. While their emotional and intellectual connection may take time to develop, their physical connection is electric from the very beginning, albeit in completely different ways. Aries snakes are ruled by fire and intuition, and it shows in how they approach sex. They are naturally seductive, effortlessly magnetic, and often the initiators when it comes to physical intimacy. But don't mistake their passion for recklessness, their sensuality is calculated. Every glance, every touch, every move is a conscious act of emotional communication. Sex, for the snake, is not just about physical release. It's about control, power, exploration, and bonding. It's where they feel most alive, and where they often feel safest expressing complex emotions they may not articulate in words. Capricorn horses, on the surface, may not seem like a perfect match for this fiery, unpredictable energy. They are slower to warm up, less likely to jump headfirst into anything physical without a solid emotional foundation. But this is exactly what makes the reveal so delicious. Once trust is established, once emotional safety is confirmed, the horse becomes a surprisingly passionate and committed lover. Their earthy sensuality may take longer to awaken, but when it does, it comes with depth, devotion, and a kind of intensity that doesn't burn out, it endures. This is where the dynamic becomes so intriguing. The snake brings intensity, variety, and a hunger for exploration. The horse brings presence, patience, and a deep desire to satisfy their partner fully. While the snake is about fire and fantasy, the horse is about focus and fulfillment. This contrast becomes the bedrock of their sexual synergy. The snake pushes boundaries. The horse grounds them. The snake introduces spontaneity. The horse adds stamina. Together, they create a rhythm that's more symphony than solo, layered, textured, and perfectly in tune when balanced. However, it's not without its challenges. Aries snakes are unpredictable. They thrive on spontaneity and emotional charge. They may want sex to be spontaneous, intense, or even symbolic, a ritual of passion that changes each time. Capricorn horses, on the other hand, tend to enjoy comfort, reliability, and emotional safety in intimacy. They are less likely to enjoy sudden surprises or experimental fantasies unless the groundwork of trust has been carefully laid. This mismatch in sexual tempo can lead to initial disconnects. But here's the beauty. Once both partners commit to understanding each other's needs, these differences become a source of creative collaboration rather than conflict. The snake learns that depth doesn't always come from novelty, that sometimes repetition can deepen intimacy rather than dilute it. The horse learns that sex doesn't have to be predictable, that surprise and spontaneity can reignite a flame that's already burning strong. Over time, both become better lovers because of each other. There's also a strong psychological element at play here. Aries snakes often use sexuality to test boundaries and emotional commitment. They may use intimacy as a way to probe their partner's inner life, gauge their honesty, or express unspoken desires. Capricorn horses, being more emotionally reserved, may initially find this intrusive or confusing. But when they realize that the snake's intensity is not manipulation, but a desire to connect, they begin to meet them halfway, offering deeper emotional presence during sex and recognizing that for the snake, intimacy is communication. The physical act itself becomes a language, sometimes raw, sometimes tender, always meaningful. The snake may introduce elements of role-play, surprise, or fantasy. The horse brings full attention, care, and physical endurance. The bedroom becomes a space not just of passion, but of psychological intimacy and mutual healing. The snake teaches the horse how to be more expressive and less guarded. The horse teaches the snake how to slow down, savor, and trust. In long-term relationships, this sexual connection doesn't dull, it evolves. As both partners mature, their physical relationship becomes more nuanced. They may move from nights of raw intensity to moments of deep emotional surrender. The sex becomes less about performance and more about presence, less about dominance and more about devotion. They begin to anticipate each other's desires without words, to sync their rhythms without planning, to create a kind of physical harmony that few couples ever achieve. Even conflict can become a source of erotic tension in this pairing. Aries snakes are often turned on by intellectual or emotional friction. Capricorn horses, being stable and composed, may be slower to engage, but once they do, the energy between them can spark powerful make-up encounters that reinforce emotional connection as much as physical attraction. Sex for these two becomes a kind of spiritual journey, one that starts with differences, travels through negotiation, and lands in a space of mutual empowerment. It is both grounding and freeing, both a haven and an adventure. It is not always easy, but it is always worth exploring. Sexual compatibility, 9/10. An evolving and emotionally rich sexual connection, one that may start with contrast, but ends in a deeply satisfying, lasting bond that touches both body and soul. Friendship, a power duo in the making. What do you get when a cunning strategist meets a workhorse with ambition? You get a friendship that isn't just casual or convenient, you get a bond built on momentum, transformation, and mutual benefit. Aries snake and Capricorn horse might seem like two people from different planets, but when they come together in a friendship, the synergy is real, and it's powerful. The Aries snake is naturally cerebral and emotionally observant. They're the kind of friend who notices subtle shifts in your tone, reads between the lines, and always seems to know what's going on beneath the surface. With an innate ability to anticipate outcomes, they approach life, and friendship, like a game of strategy. They don't offer their loyalty lightly, but once they do, it comes with intensity, protectiveness, and a touch of mischief. They're the friend who pushes you toward your potential with a sly grin and a plan you didn't see coming. The Capricorn horse, on the other hand, is rooted in work ethic, consistency, and personal responsibility. As a friend, they may not be overflowing with dramatic emotional displays, but their loyalty runs deep. They show up when it counts, keep promises, and are the first to offer real help, not just empty words. Their ambition is not just for themselves, they want their circle to rise with them. When they call you a friend, it means you're part of their carefully curated inner circle, and that's a sacred place. Together, these two bring something rare to the table. The snake has the vision. The horse has the structure. The snake introduces abstract ideas and unexpected solutions. The horse refines them into something practical and real. The snake stirs the waters. The horse builds the boat to sail them. It's not just that they help each other, it's that they upgrade each other. But no real friendship is without friction. The snake's love for ambiguity, sarcasm, and subtle manipulation can deeply frustrate the Capricorn horse, who values directness, honesty, and clear rules of engagement. To the horse, the snake might appear slippery or emotionally evasive. To the snake, the horse may seem rigid, overly serious, or emotionally closed off. Their disagreements often stem not from malice, but from fundamentally different worldviews. One seeks freedom, the other seeks order. Still, these clashes can be productive. When navigated with patience, they reveal blind spots and force growth. The horse helps the snake learn the value of boundaries, accountability, and discipline. The snake helps the horse let go, lighten up, and embrace life's gray areas. Over time, the very traits that annoy them in each other become the ones they respect most. In terms of shared activities, this friendship thrives in goal-oriented spaces. Whether it's a business venture, a creative collaboration, or a mutual hobby, they work best when they have a mission. They're not the kind of friends who talk for hours about nothing. Their conversations tend to be layered, purposeful, and forward-thinking. The snake brings insight and perspective. The horse brings structure and execution. Together, they can turn ideas into realities, dreams into outcomes. There's also a deeply protective quality in their bond. The Aries snake, though emotionally guarded, is fiercely loyal once they trust you. If someone threatens their friend, they'll strike with quiet precision. The Capricorn horse, though stoic, is deeply committed to those they care about. If their friend needs support, emotional, financial, or logistical, they show up. Period. Neither of them loves vulnerability, but both understand loyalty. And that's what makes this friendship not only lasting, but deeply resilient. With time, this duo learns to speak each other's emotional language. The horse learns to read the snake's silences and appreciate their layers. The snake learns to trust the horse's steadiness and value their unspoken loyalty. They balance each other, one whispering strategies from the shadows, the other moving forward with head held high. It's the kind of bond where both feel seen, challenged, and strengthened. They may never be overly sentimental with one another, but there's an unshakable trust, a knowing that the other is always thinking ahead, always watching your back, always ready to jump in when the stakes are high. Whether they speak every day or go months without talking, when they reconnect, it's as if no time has passed. That's the hallmark of a true, high-functioning friendship: consistency without clinginess, depth without drama. In times of crisis, their combined calm and focus become a weapon. When others panic, the snake assesses. The horse acts. The snake plans 5 moves ahead. The horse begins executing step 1. When others waste time, this pair solves problems. That makes them not just great friends to each other, but invaluable assets in each other's lives. There's also a shared sense of humor between them, once the initial differences soften. It's dry, dark, and intelligent, often unspoken but deeply understood. The snake loves the irony of the world. The horse finds the absurdity in structure. Together, they laugh at life's complications, because they know they have the tools, and each other, to handle them. Friendship compatibility. 8.5-10. Complementary forces. A team that can conquer challenges together, lift each other higher, and build something that's not just meaningful, but indestructible. Business. Strategy meets grit. Now here's where sparks really fly, in the boardroom. While love might challenge them, and friendship might ground them, the arena of business is where the Aries snake and the Capricorn horse come fully alive. This partnership is electric, not because they agree on everything, but because their differences, when respected, create a perfect storm of vision, execution, and relentless drive. The Aries snake is a born strategist. This is someone who doesn't just see the playing field, they see it from 30,000 feet, with every move, risk, and advantage mapped out in their mind long before anyone else realizes what's even in play. Their instincts are razor sharp, and they have a natural flair for innovation. They don't follow trends, they set them. Their decisions are fast but rarely impulsive, calculated, cool, and often unconventional. In the business world, they thrive on disruption, storytelling, and leveraging the unexpected. They understand people, market psychology, and timing with almost eerie precision. The Capricorn horse, by contrast, is the embodiment of discipline and grit. While the snake dreams and designs, the horse builds, brick by brick, plan by plan, budget by budget. Their strength is in their stamina, their attention to detail, and their almost obsessive focus on results. They're not interested in flash, they're interested in function. And unlike many visionaries who start strong and fade fast, the Capricorn horse knows how to finish. They're the partner who keeps the gears moving, even when enthusiasm dips or chaos erupts. Together, these two create a rare dynamic, one part visionary chaos, one part methodical control. The Aries Snake introduces bold, unconventional strategies, ideas that could redefine an industry or unlock a new revenue stream. The Capricorn horse immediately begins to vet, plan, and implement those ideas. They don't get seduced by the thrill of newness, they ask, will it scale? Can it last? What's the ROI? The snake finds this grounding. The horse finds the snake's risk appetite strangely energizing. Their collaboration is symbiotic. The snake energizes the room, pitches with charisma, and lands the high-risk clients or radical partnerships that others wouldn't dare pursue. The horse shows up early, stays late, reads every contract line by line, and makes sure the promises made by the snake are actually delivered. It's this blend of sparkle and structure that makes them such a formidable team. But there's a catch: ego. Both the Aries snake and the Capricorn horse like to lead. The snake wants influence. They like being the architect, the secret genius behind the curtain, the one others look to for big ideas. The horse wants control, not just of the vision, but of the execution, the system, and the measurable success. If either partner begins to feel overshadowed or micromanaged, friction arises. The snake might retreat into secrecy or passive resistance. The horse might become stubborn or overly critical. Left unchecked, these behaviors can fracture the partnership. However, if mutual respect is established early, if both recognize that they are strongest together, that's when the magic happens. They learn to share power without stepping on each other's toes. The snake stays out of the horse's operational lane. The horse doesn't second-guess the snake's creative intuition. Decisions become collaborative, not competitive. This pairing also thrives in high-stakes environments. Where other teams buckle under pressure, the snake and horse find their rhythm. The snake remains calm under scrutiny, seeing patterns and pivot points no one else notices. The horse keeps their head down, handles logistics, and ensures that every detail aligns with the big picture. Whether it's a product launch, a crisis, or a corporate negotiation, they don't just survive the storm, they often come out ahead of it. Their business acumen also extends to people management. The snake is incredibly emotionally intelligent, reading team dynamics and client needs like an open book. They can spot deception, sense tension, and play politics with grace. The horse, while more straightforward, earns respect through fairness, consistency, and a strong ethical compass. Together, they're able to manage diverse teams effectively, with the snake smoothing egos and the horse setting standards. One of the strongest aspects of this business relationship is long-term vision. The snake doesn't like being boxed into old systems, they constantly seek new angles. The horse doesn't chase shiny distractions, they build foundations. When they align on a goal, they don't just think in quarters or fiscal years, they think in decades. They're capable of scaling businesses that last, not just ride trends. Even in failure, because failure always happens in business, they balance each other. The snake reframes losses as lessons, using setbacks to strategize stronger comebacks. The horse takes accountability, reviews the data, and adjusts the system. They don't spiral, they recalibrate. Over time, if trust deepens and communication remains clear, these two can become one of the most high-functioning business duos imaginable. They can run a company, build an empire, or even shift an entire industry. Their brand of collaboration is not born of sameness, but of shared excellence, the snake's brilliance with the horse's determination. Vision meets structure, speed meets stamina, genius meets grit. Business compatibility, 9/10. A high-functioning combo, if mutual respect is established. This isn't just a partnership. It's a blueprint for building something extraordinary. Dark sides, secrets, control, emotional distance. Every zodiac pairing has its hidden corners, and the match between Aries Snake and Capricorn Horse is no exception. Beneath the chemistry, the teamwork, and the mutual admiration lies a complex web of unspoken tension, internalized emotion, and power dynamics that, if left unaddressed, can silently erode the bond they work so hard to build. These two are strong, driven, and fiercely independent, which makes their connection magnetic, but also prone to shadow behaviors that emerge under stress, insecurity, or unmet expectations. The Aries Snake walks through life with layers. Charm is their weapon, and strategy is their language. In the light, they are captivating, emotionally aware, expressive, and seductive. But in the dark, that same charisma can morph into manipulation. The snake doesn't always lie outright. They mislead by omission, redirect, or simply stay silent. This creates a sense of mystery that can be attractive at first, but dangerous in the long run. In moments of conflict or vulnerability, the snake may withhold key emotions, disappear emotionally, or even use affection as leverage. Their independence, while admirable, can cross over into emotional isolation, leaving their partner feeling shut out, unsure of what's real. Capricorn horses, meanwhile, wear a different kind of armor. Their dark side is rooted not in seduction, but in stoicism. They don't play emotional games, they avoid emotional expression altogether. Their fear isn't being seen, it's being exposed. When life feels out of control, they lean harder into structure, rules, and routines. At their worst, this becomes a form of emotional control, not over others, but over themselves. They suppress, bury, and deflect feelings until they either implode in sudden anger or vanish in icy withdrawal. This creates a sense of emotional inaccessibility that can deeply frustrate a partner who craves connection but finds only walls. When these two come together, their shadows mirror each other in unsettling ways. The snake hides behind charm and strategy. The horse hides behind control and order. Both, in their own ways, struggle to be emotionally transparent. The snake fears vulnerability will weaken their influence. The horse fears it will destabilize their carefully managed world. So instead of open communication, there's silence. Instead of vulnerability, there's posturing. And instead of healing, there's a slow accumulation of resentment, the kind that simmers quietly until it explodes. This is where emotional suppression becomes the first danger zone. Aries snakes feel deeply, but they often process those feelings in solitude. They may act like everything's fine while quietly growing distant, stewing in their unspoken disappointment. Capricorn horses may sense something is off but refuse to ask, believing that emotions are a personal matter that should be handled privately. This mutual avoidance creates an emotional vacuum, where problems are felt but never addressed, until one day, one of them reaches their breaking point. Then comes the power struggle. Both signs like to lead, but in very different ways. The snake uses influence and persuasion. The horse uses structure and control. When they disagree, neither wants to yield. The snake may undermine decisions subtly, using logic and insinuation to reassert their dominance. The horse may double down on order, becoming inflexible and unyielding. These battles may not be loud or explosive. More often, they're cold, strategic, and exhausting. It becomes less about resolution and more about who's right. And in that war for control, intimacy dies. Passive-aggressive behaviors creep in next. The snake may withdraw affection, cancel plans last minute, or make sarcastic comments cloaked as humor. The horse may enforce rules, routines, or boundaries in a way that feels punitive. Both partners end up feeling misunderstood, underappreciated, and emotionally abandoned, but neither one wants to say it out loud. Pride gets in the way. Ego gets in the way. The silence stretches, and with each unspoken hurt, the distance grows. What makes this even more dangerous is that both signs are self-sufficient. They don't need a relationship to feel complete, which means when things get difficult, they're more likely to retreat than repair. The snake tells themselves they're better off alone. The horse tells themselves they don't have time for emotional chaos. Without intentional effort, this pairing can dissolve not with a bang, but a slow, icy fade. But here's the truth neither of them wants to admit. beneath their armor, they both crave deep emotional connection. The snake wants to be seen beyond their charm. The horse wants to be loved beyond their control. They both fear vulnerability, but what they really fear is rejection after being vulnerable. That's why they hide. That's why they defend. That's why the shadows win, unless they choose a different path. And that path begins with awareness. With the snake recognizing that mystery isn't intimacy, that charm without transparency becomes manipulation. With the horse realizing that order without emotion becomes isolation. If they're willing to risk emotional discomfort, to speak plainly, to listen with empathy instead of defensiveness, their dark sides become doorways to healing, to growth, and to a deeper kind of trust. Ironically, these two signs are among the best equipped to handle emotional transformation. The snake is a master of psychological nuance. The horse has the discipline to do the work. If they can turn those strengths inward, if they can face their own shadows with the same energy they give to success, they can evolve into more honest, emotionally available versions of themselves. And that evolution doesn't just heal the relationship, it elevates it. In the end, the darkness between Aries Snake and Capricorn Horse is not an obstacle. It's a test of whether two powerful, self-reliant individuals can drop their defenses long enough to let someone really see them. If they can, if they dare to love without masks, their shadows become shared, and their bond becomes unbreakable. Awareness is power, vulnerability is freedom, and this duo, when they lean into both, can turn even their darkest corners into light. Key danger zones: emotional suppression, power struggles, passive-aggressive behaviors, life goals, different paths, shared ambition. At first glance, the life goals of the Aries Snake and the Capricorn Horse appear to be set on diverging tracks, one paved in sparks and reinvention, the other in structure and tradition. And yet, the deeper you look, the more you realize they're both running at full speed toward the same destination: impact, success, and self-actualization. Their methods may be wildly different, but their underlying hunger to live life at the highest possible level creates a surprising synergy. The Aries Snake is a creature of motion and transformation. They are not content to follow the rules or take the road most traveled. Their life goals are fluid, not because they lack focus, but because they're fueled by the need to evolve. Reinvention isn't a phase for the snake, it's a lifestyle. They pursue careers and personal milestones that allow them to shed skins, change direction, and create new versions of themselves. Whether it's launching a startup, diving into the arts, traveling solo across the world, or pivoting to a new passion at 40, the Aries Snake views life as an ongoing project of reinvention. Risk doesn't scare them, stagnation does. The Capricorn Horse, in contrast, moves forward with purpose, precision, and endurance. Their ambitions are often mapped out early in life, a clear picture of where they want to be and what legacy they want to leave behind. The horse doesn't change lanes mid-race. Instead, they master the track. Their life goals are grounded in stability, reputation, and measurable success. They don't chase dreams for the thrill, they pursue them for the outcome, the long-term security, and the pride of having built something that lasts. Whether it's climbing a corporate ladder, building a business from scratch, or creating a strong family foundation, the horse thrives when there's structure and a plan. So how do these two align when their paths seem so different? Through ambition, a force they both share with unwavering intensity. While their definitions of success may differ, their desire to achieve it is equally fierce. The snake may measure success by the freedom to create and explore. The horse may define it as stability, influence, and recognition. But in both cases, there is an undeniable drive to become, to rise beyond average, to build a life that reflects their inner greatness. This shared ambition becomes the glue in their dynamic. Each partner, in their own way, is trying to conquer something, whether it's an internal challenge, a creative vision, or a career mountain. When they can acknowledge and celebrate the other's version of success without judgment or comparison, they create a relationship where individuality is not only allowed, but honored. The snake doesn't try to make the horse more spontaneous. The horse doesn't try to make the snake more conventional. Instead, they meet at the intersection of mutual support, where difference becomes strength. The snake, with their flair for vision and their instinct for timing, can inspire the horse to take more calculated risks, to see beyond linear progress, and to dream outside of the spreadsheet. The horse, with their discipline and grounding presence, can help the snake follow through, stay the course, and build lasting results from bold ideas. It's not about changing each other, it's about sharpening each other. That said, friction can arise when one partner sees the other's path as threatening to their own. The snake may feel suffocated by the horse's need for routine and long-term planning. The horse may feel destabilized by the snake's ever-changing goals and disdain for structure. These moments require empathy. The snake must understand that the horse's desire for stability is not a lack of ambition, but a different style of it. The horse must see that the snake's constant reinvention is not flakiness, it's evolution in action. Conflict may also show up in how they prioritize. The snake might pour their energy into self-discovery, passion projects, or unconventional success markers, while the horse zeroes in on career milestones, financial security, and social standing. They'll need to agree on shared values, not necessarily in practice but in spirit. If they align on why they work so hard, even if the how looks different, they stay connected. For example, both might value freedom. The snake craves creative freedom, the horse craves financial freedom. When they recognize that both goals serve the same core need, they become more supportive and less reactive. In their personal lives, this pairing can be highly complementary when it comes to lifestyle design. The snake brings adventure, newness, and disruption to stale routines. They are the ones who suggest the unexpected trip, propose the bold move, or wake up with a new plan. The horse brings consistency, planning, and execution. They'll book the flights, manage the budget, and make sure things run smoothly. Together, they're capable of building a life that's both exciting and stable, a rare but deeply fulfilling balance. This dynamic also becomes powerful in times of major life transitions. When the snake hits a personal crossroads, the horse offers steady ground. When the horse gets stuck in a rut or becomes risk-averse, the snake brings a breath of fresh perspective and daring. In this way, they don't just support each other's goals, they unlock them. Over the long term, this partnership requires consistent communication about values, timelines, and dreams. The snake may pivot more frequently than the horse is comfortable with. The horse may resist change more than the snake finds tolerable. But when both partners commit to transparent dialogue and shared vision mapping, they stay in sync, not by doing the same things, but by honoring the same mission: to grow, to build, to matter. In the end, their biggest achievement may not be reaching their personal goals, but growing into people who can thrive next to someone so different, yet so equally driven. They become not just life partners, but growth partners. The kind who challenge each other, inspire each other, and evolve because of each other. Life goals compatibility, exceptionally strong when grounded in mutual respect. Different roads, same mountain, and when they get there, together, they'll know the climb was worth every step. Final thoughts: can this work? Absolutely, but not without effort. The compatibility between an Aries snake and a Capricorn horse isn't built on ease or instant understanding. It's built on challenge, transformation, and the conscious choice to stay curious about each other, even when their instincts scream in opposite directions. This is not the type of relationship that falls into place overnight. Instead, it's the kind that's forged, piece by piece, moment by moment, through dialogue, conflict, and the quiet decision to keep showing up. This isn't an easy, predictable love story. It's more like an epic narrative, complete with sharp plot twists, stubborn protagonists, and the kind of emotional depth that only comes from contrast. Aries snake and Capricorn horse represent two entirely different approaches to life. One is instinctive, impulsive, and fluid. The other is grounded, methodical, and forward planning. They often misunderstand each other not because they don't care, but because they operate on different frequencies. One asks, why not? While the other asks, what's the cost? One leaps, the other calculates. It's not friction-free, but it is fascinating. Aries snake brings fire, not just passion, but a dynamic kind of emotional intensity that inspires change, fuels risk, and disrupts complacency. This partner adds color to the Capricorn Horse's grayscale world: unpredictability, sensuality, and transformation. They live by instinct, guided by intuition and emotional pulse. When they love, it's with every cell. But they also withdraw, test, and at times, emotionally strategize in ways that can confuse a partner craving clarity. Capricorn Horse brings stone, not coldness, but structure. Reliability, something permanent to lean on. This partner grounds the snake's chaos without extinguishing it, offering the steady hand that says, "I've got this," when life becomes overwhelming. They don't just love, they commit, build, and protect. But they struggle with vulnerability, often expressing love through actions instead of words, through presence instead of poetry. For someone as emotionally nuanced as the snake, this can feel distant, even though it's actually devoted. So how does it work? When they communicate honestly, respect each other's strengths, and allow room for both adventure and structure, they form a relationship that's rare and resilient. The snake must accept that not all affection comes gift-wrapped in emotional transparency. Sometimes it arrives in practical gestures, in consistency, in loyalty. The horse must learn that emotional depth isn't chaos, it's richness. That passion doesn't threaten stability, it enhances it. When each partner stops trying to fix the other and instead learns to understand them, trust deepens. And with trust comes transformation. Power struggles will happen. They always do with two strong personalities. But those struggles are opportunities. The snake wants influence, the horse wants direction. If they focus on shared outcomes instead of control, they become a unified force. Decisions no longer come down to my way or yours, but rather, what actually works for us. And when life gets hard, which it always will, this pairing has the tools to weather storms. The snake adapts, the horse endures. One shifts shape, the other stands tall. Together, they don't just survive adversity, they redefine what partnership looks like in its most raw, resilient form. Sexually, they remain electric. Emotionally, they evolve. Intellectually, they push each other. And spiritually, they find themselves orbiting a shared truth: that love isn't always comfortable, but it's often worth the discomfort. This relationship requires growth, but not just growth as a couple, growth as individuals. The Aries snake must become more patient, more open to consistency, and less afraid of emotional surrender. The Capricorn horse must soften, let go of control, and risk the messiness of intimacy. When both partners take responsibility for their emotional habits, not just blame the other, something extraordinary happens. Their bond moves from merely working to thriving. It's a union of fire and stone, passion and patience, instinct and planning. A delicate but powerful blend of what's felt and what's built. Not every couple can sustain such polarity, but this one can, not because it's easy, but because the challenge itself is what makes it worthwhile. It's not just about compatibility, it's about evolution. This relationship won't allow either partner to remain static. It will stretch them, test them, and, if they rise to the occasion, reward them with a love that's layered, lasting, and unlike anything they've known before. Final compatibility rating: 8.5/10. A rich, layered connection that challenges and transforms both partners. Not fate, but a powerful choice, made again and again. And in the end, that choice might be the most romantic thing of all. Want to dive deeper into zodiac pairings like this? Let me know what duo you'd like to see next. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out the other videos on our channel for more cosmic insights. Follow us on social media, and hey, your future may just depend on it.